folks, welcome to this week's episode of The Dex, where we cover trivia and strategy for a different Pokemon each week. I'm Icy Guy Alex.
And I'm PokeKellz. And remember, kids, if you ever feel attacked or threatened, just curl up in a ball and you'll be safe.
Curl up in a ball and you'll be safe? How would that help you if you were being mugged?
Shut up, that's how. Besides, don't you even know who we're doing today?
Actually, no, I must have missed it.
Missed it? What are you doing? And what are you? Oh, and he's curled up in a ball.
It's Sandslash!
It's a hypocrite! So Sandslash is the mouse Pokemon from Gen 1, and it totally evolves from Sandshrew, but its design seems to come more from armored dudes like the pangolin, armadillo, and the hedgehog. So what gives with that?
Well, it's actually kind of tough to point to one in particular. Sandslash's name in Japanese is Sanpan for Sand Pangolin, while in French it's Sablero for Sand Badger, and its Korean name Koji is a mix of the words for hedgehog and mole. In fact, I wish everyone just used his Chinese name, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but basically translates to King of Going Through Mountains. Epic.
Sandslash's body is covered in sharp spines and plates, which, like most of its namesakes, both protect it from attack and deal damage. They also have large claws for slashing and burrowing underground, which is yet another thing that most of these species do.
But that's not even where it stops. Some species of shrew, like the northern short-tailed shrew, are venomous, and Sandslash and Sandshrew can both naturally learn poison sting. Plus, if one of their spines or claws break, it can grow back in a day. They move fast, and they all typically thrive in dry, hot places.
Unless, of course, you're in a lowland Sandslash, which actually thrives in an icy climate and has since developed a bulkier build and spines covered in ice.
Oh dang, what? A lowland forms? We're already going there?
Yeah, dude, if you've been following the Pokemon Sun and Moon news, you've probably heard of a little thing by now called Variant Pokemon. It was a big surprise to everybody, and we are particularly excited about it here.
Yo, that's because it basically confirms a theory we discussed way back in our Pidgey episode with MatPat when we first started our Edgelution segment.
Yep, and today we are using that same segment again to prove it's not just a theory.
A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Killed it.
What?
Buried it. So back in our video with MatPat, we used the different birds of the Pokemon world to show that actual evolution occurs in the Pokemon world alongside the game mechanic that they just call evolution, but is actually more like a form of metamorphosis, which is defined as a change in the form and often habits of an animal during normal development.
Yeah, and just look at Caterpie, Metapod, and Butterfree if you need an example. That metamorphosis could not be more clear. But to prove that Alolan Sandshrew and Sandslash represent actual evolution, let's take a look at the definition real quick. The process by which different kinds of living organisms are thought to have developed and diversified from earlier forms. I should be wearing a jacket for this.
Yeah, see, the key word here is diversified, which tends to happen when a population of animals ends up isolated away from the rest of the species. It's called Divergent Evolution, and it's basically the accumulation of differences between groups that eventually leads to the formation of a brand new species.
Yeah, and we know that sounds confusing, but check out what the Sun and Moon website says about Sandshrew. Sandshrew have historically lived in desert areas, but the frequent eruptions of nearby volcanoes drove Sandshrew to abandon the desert and migrate to the snowy mountains, where they took on this form. Sandshrew's body changed to adapt to the harsh environment of the snowy mountains.
So essentially, that means that Divergent Evolution is confirmed canon in the Pokemon world. Like, yes, we already knew that Archeops is the ancestor of all bird Pokemon, but to see a living example of Divergent Evolution as a game mechanic opens up a huge door towards speculation about the relationship between guys like Sharpedo and Garchomp, or all those electric mousies, or like the birds even, like we said. It's crazy, it's a can of worms.
And this is tight because it means Pokemon aren't just these sort of static magical creatures, and that they actually operate on some of the same real-world rules that Earth animals do.
Yeah, I don't even really know why, but that excites the heck out of me. It's just a little detail, but it makes everything seem that much more real, like the Pokemon world is leaking into ours. Maybe one day it will be real even. Is that weird? Sorry, it's just too cool to see your dreams coming true, man.
Dang, dude!
Yeah, and the ice ones can't close up because they're too bulky, and so they just slide around on their little bellies.
Honestly, that is legit awesome, but you wanna know what would make it even better?
Maybe some Gen 6 Sandslash battle strategy for the people?
Oh, you know it, girl!
Pokemon! Bow!
Like many extra cool one-stage Pokemon, Sandslash has two excellent stats, in this case attack and defense, but the rest leave a little to be desired. But don't let it get you down, it just means you gotta be really sure you know what you're doing. Start with an Adamant one and super train it in attack and split the rest between HP and speed.
Sandslash is one of those lucky few Pokemon who has access to Rapid Spin, so use Sandslash to efficiently counter things like entry hazards. Just know that your opponent's going to be expecting this, and the best way to take advantage of that fact is to be overly aggressive.
The best way to do this is to open with a hefty stab, earthquake, and then either rapid spin or swords dance when your opponent is still reeling. However, be vigilant, as this is stopped dead in its tracks with levitate and ghost or flying types.
Flying types and levitate completely duck your quakes, and ghost type's normal immunity prevents rapid spin from landing. But lucky for you, we still have one open slot, so fill it with knockoff, and boom, you are golden handled.
But of course, that's not the only way to train a Sandslash, so as always, here are a few random thoughts.
We usually advise to run a Lumberry on this set because low base stat Mons usually have big issues with most status effects, but another way to go with Sandslash specifically is to run an Earthplate, which adds 20% more damage to earthquakes. Try it out.
Sandslash's ability Sand Rush also makes him a possible candidate for a straight sweep as long as Sandstorm's doubling its speed. So try running a set with 4 attacks and a Life Orb if that sounds fun. I don't know.
Stone Edge is another great coverage option you can use instead of Sword Stance if you'd rather be more broadly lethal without the need to boost. Take a chance on it sometime.
And finally, if you're feeling frisky, why not toss X-Scissor on there too? Sandslash is absolutely foiled by grass types on most days, but a boosted bug type move out of nowhere might net you the odd surprise KO every once in a while, just saying.
And that's it, Sandslash. I wonder how his Alolan form is gonna affect his battle strat in Gen 7.
Oh my god, right? Guess we'll just have to wait and see. For more trivia and strategy about Pokemon from Gen 1, aka Pokemon Go, click here, or to listen to our most recent hour-long Dex podcast, click right here. I'm Icy Guy Alex.
And I'm PokeKellz. Check back next week for a blooper reel special on next week's episode of
The Dex.